So we're going to finish off within here. I mixed up a little bit of more of that gray, a little bit lighter than it was before. We want to make sure it's matching. And if it's too dark or too light, we can make some adjustments on that as well. But so far so good. Looks all right. Because most of this is actually gray, because it's in the shadow side of the crushed can on those. So it does have that quality to it. That still looks a little bit darker than what I want. So let's mix a little bit more white with it. Get this out of the way. And so I think I need just a little more white with that, just a little bit lighter of a value. Because I started last time when we started painting with that gray, it was just a little bit too dark. It was darker than the red around it. And so let's see if we can get that back to that a little bit of a lighter color. Oh, that's lighter, huh? That looks actually closer to what we're looking for, I think, on that too. I'm just going to use the tip of the brush to bring that up. I think that's much better. Oops, that was a definite fat brush problem. Maybe we do a little bit with the fat brush and then bring in the small brush. On these wider areas, that makes this brush work really, really well. But when it gets a little tight, the brush just kind of expands a little bit. So we'll do that much with that. Then I'll come back here with this pointier brush that we can kind of come in and hit some of our edges a little bit better. Now this brush is not as stiff of a bristle on that, so it's harder in some aspects to get it into the little teeny spots. With one single application, you kind of got to do multiple strokes to get it in there. It requires a little more tickling, I guess, with the tip of the brush. Multiple trips to the paint palette too. But it is a little easier to control where things go and where they are, that's for sure. Here. Now I have uploaded some of these that I've done in class so that you have, so that there's references online if you can't remember how we did a particular part. I've been trying to eventually do the whole thing. Now that does make for some videos that are a little bit longer, but just view the parts that you need. You don't have to just run it from beginning to end, start to finish on that one. Just take in the part that you need for your painting to finish that up if there's some questions. Let's go down here. Like that's coming together a little bit better. Got to turn this a little bit so I can paint the right parts of it here. Go up into here where that crease is. Okay. And this piece comes down right to about there. Okay, so I think that's most of the little bits of the gray, right? Because then the can itself starts to fold a little bit right there. Kind of like that. And then let's get some white. And clean out our brush a little bit. And we can start to see a little bit more of these areas here. Our white paint. And now this area here needs to be white. As does this little area. Because this area of the lettering is in the light, therefore it has light values to it. And then these parts had that gray in it a little bit, so we wanted to come back and get just a little bit of white on those edges. There we go. And so that should be everything on the can, finishing up the can. We'll mix up some paints for the background, but there's the can itself with some of its stuff going there. I have a little bit of a touch-up to do right in there, but that's about it. That's pretty cool.